welcome to Self Love and Chill. I'm Lisa Velasquez, your host, and I'm a self-love coach, dating and relationship expert, and certified sex educator. Right now, if you could take a moment to like and subscribe, I would really appreciate that. And we're just going to talk for a few minutes about a very important topic. I really wanted to touch upon this because if you're living in the United States, we're getting close to spring, right? And if you're wherever you're living in the world, when is that time of the year? I want you to think about that you feel like going out and meeting people and dating because the weather is amazing, right? What is that thing that makes you get yourself out there, right? And put yourself out there. Because sometimes when we start dating again and put ourselves in the world, we're not checking for habits that we've had in the past that may have been unhealthy in dating or things that we let slide. A lot of the time we call them red flags, right? But today we're going to talk about the signs that you're in a toxic relationship. I just taught a class last week that I'm actually teaching again on Thursday, March 2nd. I can't believe March is here, right? So Thursday, March 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be teaching my workshop, 10 blind spots that keep the high achieving single woman from the love life she wants. And those blind spots are really things I want you to think about. But we're going to talk about some signs today that you may be in a toxic relationship. And they're just a few signs. These are not all the signs. I'm sure there's so many that I might miss because there's so many depending on your circumstance. But I want to touch on a few that I feel would really support you to check in with yourself when you're dating or if you're in a relationship right now and you don't know if it's toxic because maybe you're in too deep already. Maybe you're at the point where you really can't tell because you're just so used to the habits and the routines that you have in this relationship that maybe are toxic, but you're just accustomed to them because you're with someone that you really wanted to be with. And unfortunately, you may have been willing to compromise on your own values to be with them. So, what I'm going to touch upon are 7 things. And the easiest part to remember about these 7 things is that they're each a part of you. So, I want you to take a look and think about number one, how do you feel emotionally when you are in this relationship? How do you feel emotionally when you're with this person? Now, this doesn't have to apply when you're only in a committed relationship. This can be, listen, no judgment, no shade. If you're in a situationship, right? If there's too many circumstances that are have you with this person, but this person is, for whatever reason, not choosing to commit, right? And we're not going to get into commitment today. That's a whole other topic, right? But you know what I'm saying. Like want to establish and say that they're with you, right? So I'm not going to judge that. I want you to know that this applies across all dating scenarios in your life that you're currently in or have been in the past. So where are you emotionally? How do you feel about yourself when you're with this person? How do you feel about yourself when you're communicating with this person? Do you feel like, do you feel safe that you can communicate with them? Do you feel safe to tell people you're in this relationship or dating this person? Or do you feel like you're always on eggshells in the relationship? Do your emotions always feel like they're on a roller coaster of, oh, I have to do this to be approved of, or I have to do this to get them to like me, or I have to do this to get them to actually see me because I never see them, right? So when I do this, they show up. And it's something that doesn't make you feel good. It's something that makes you feel disempowered. It's something that makes you feel like you're being someone you're not. And your emotions never feel grounded. You never feel safe. You never feel like you can express what it is your heart truly wants when you're with them because you feel like if you do express those things, they'll run away from you, they'll ghost you, they'll distance themselves, they'll detach, whatever that looks like. And that can happen when you establish that your feelings don't matter to the person that you're with. And you're aware of that, but you're still hoping that your feelings will matter to them if you just compromise and do what they want. Maybe they'll change, maybe they'll be different. So that's one clue that you're in a toxic relationship, an unhealthy relationship, when you're constantly compromising the emotions that you have that are healthy and natural that you want to express, that they're not supported or validated in the relationship. And it's not that we're supposed to wait for people to validate us, but it's about both people are supposed to acknowledge and validate each other's feelings, that they're being seen and heard and valued. This goes for both people. It shouldn't be you validating them and being for them emotionally. And when it's time for them to be there for you, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to be there. They don't care. They even disappear. So I want you to check in with yourself emotionally. Mentally, who, how is this getting to you to think about yourself, right? Are you feeling like you are having positive self talk about who you are as a person when you're dating this person? Are you trying to say things that are going to uplift you mentally, or are you feeling like you're getting mentally depleted from being with this person? Are you feeling like you're getting mentally depleted for how you're behaving in the relationship, right? Are you making yourself exhausted? Are you giving yourself migraines, constantly worrying about how you can upkeep this dating scenario, how you can upkeep this relationship, how you can upkeep it and get it to the next level of whatever that looks like for what you desire? But it's also draining you mentally, where you can't focus on work, you can't focus on your creative projects, you can't focus on your business. There are other people in your life that you can't even spend time with. And we're going to get into that one with, who you socialize with later down the line. But, you want to be there for other people. And then you also want to allow others to be there for you. And what's on your mind is that you want to share with them, but you can't, because maybe you've been lying about the way this dating scenario or relationship has been going all this time. Maybe there is an upkeep, an image you've been trying to uphold in front of your friends and family, your community, whatever that looks like. But it is really draining you mentally because this person wants you to prioritize them consistently and you are forgetting about yourself. And I also want you to think about the pressures that you may have for being a certain way, upkeeping how you look and how you are to impress and to have this person's approval, right? So you don't get rejected because you've put all this time and energy in and you don't want to lose them now. So you're constantly on a mental hamster wheel about how it's your job to upkeep this relationship and keep this person interested in you, but it's mentally debilitating. Okay, so that's something I want you to think about. Is this showing up for you? Number three, physically, is this making you drained and exhausted, right? It's a series right now, in case you haven't noticed. We're talking about how this affects your physical, mental, and emotional health, because it's going to affect your whole body, right? If you're not good emotionally, it's going to affect, your stomach. Look it up. It's science, right? The brain gut connection. So it's going to affect you, right? So you want to look at how you're being physically. Are you eating well? And I'm not a nutritionist, but I'm going to ask you, it's a normal question people ask you that care about you. Are you eating well? Are you taking care of yourself? Do you even have an appetite? Or what has been happening emotionally and mentally when you're dating this person, or if you're in a relationship with them, or you've been in the past, this has come up for you. Is it making you feel good enough to have an appetite? Sometimes we're so stressed that we can't eat, and it's because we're just feeling I want to say constrained, right? We're feeling like contracted. We're not feeling like we can express ourselves and be expansive. You're feeling like you can shrink, like feeling like you have to shrink to be in this relationship physically. Maybe on a physical level, they're wanting you to dress a certain way or look a certain way, in front of their family and friends, or just to look a certain way for them, or to not allow you to look or dress a certain way that they disapprove of because they don't want you to get attention, right? They don't want anyone to look at you. That's borderline abusive, okay? Trying to control the way you look and the way you present and who you are, and you know, how you dress. That's something that does not need to be happening. You literally do not deserve that to be happening in your life. If you're with someone, you deserve to be treated well, and you deserve, to have autonomy and to be able to support yourself in a way that you get to choose what you want. That's supportive. Being supportive of you is deciding what you want to do, how you want to act, and how you want to be physically experienced, right? And how you want to show up in the world. But if there's someone that's trying to control that, it's really important that you take a look at how is that showing up in your life physically. Are they even controlling the way you try to have mannerisms? And I think it's important for you to really sit with that and look at how are you being affected physically. And overall, it could just make you sick, right? If you're being debilitated emotionally and mentally, it's going to have an effect on your physical health. And I know I shared that before, but I felt like I needed to say it again for some reason. But I really want you to check in with that, right? Because if someone is controlling you in those ways, and the hard part is that there are some people that are going to say, well, I didn't tell you to do those things. You knew if you wanted to be with me, that was what you needed to do, right? But if you don't feel powerful enough to speak up and make those changes, or powerful enough to just not be with them, it's really important for you to look at the type of relationships you choose to get into, or the type of people that you meet that you say yes to. And I'm not saying this is for you to blame yourself. I want you to start taking responsibility in a sense where you take back your power and you have an ability to respond in situations in your life to make the changes that you want to see versus waiting for someone else to change. You can take your power back by making those changes. And I'm going to get into some ways to get out of these, relationships and dating scenarios, but I'm going to jump into the social component, which is your friends group, your community, your family, the family you choose, right? It's not always going to be our biological family, but maybe, your community of friends who are now family to you. And it's important that you look at, are you hiding from these people? Right? Are you hiding this relationship from these people? Or are you at a point mentally that you have been brainwashed or convinced that continuing to connect with these people is not healthy for you? Right? And you don't want to let them know that you're in another unhealthy relationship, right? Maybe something they see a lot of. Maybe you don't want to be criticized. Maybe you don't want to be called out. Maybe you don't want to be judged, right? But it's important to have a healthy community of friends, right? That are not buddy buddy with this person that you're with, that are going to have your back and listen to you objectively and support you, right? Please, please, please gently let go of feeling shame and embarrassment. We all go through things, we all go through challenges in relationships, but you, for 1 minute, don't deserve to not have people that support you to get out of this relationship. Also, to vent, to start planting the seeds to leave that relationship, and to start venting, to actually have the courage to speak up. Because when you speak to a trusted friend, right, or a family member, to support you, to let out what's been going on, that begins to set you free emotionally and mentally, where you feel physically strong to leave that relationship, right? And I think it's important that you tap into that network and resource. And if you need to talk to someone that, you don't, that's not related to, that's not a family, maybe talk to a therapist, right? And get the support that you need that's going to help you get out of that unhealthy relationship and start to break those patterns, right? Because if you're not in a relationship right now, but this sounds like one you were in, and you're over the person, but you're not healed from what happens, I really want you to consider speaking with a professional. You can even book a love breakthrough session with me, to actually support you to start healing that. Because a lot of the time we don't realize we have the residuals from those relationships travel with us into the next relationship. I remember I spoke with a person on my last workshop that was sharing that they don't want a relationship, they just want to date right now. But the thought of being in a relationship made them clench their hand over their heart, because they were like, oh, I don't want a relationship right now. I don't want that. Because the last emotional imprint they have on their heart was how that relationship didn't work and how it hurt them. So they're holding on to what's hurting them, but they don't realize when they start going out there to date, if this is you, right, you still have stuff that's residual and unhealed that can attract the kind of partner that you don't want, right? Because it's stuff that you're just holding on to that you're not acknowledging. And when you start to acknowledge what's unhealthy and not right for you, that's part of you being self aware, which is wonderful. And it's part of the healing process. So I really want you to start looking into this. I really want you to start considering how you can start moving through the healing process and getting there with the right support for you. So remember, I think it's important to think about the part where I shared socially. I want you to understand that when you're in a relationship or when you're dating, one of the most important things you need to have are healthy friendships, healthy relationships from other people that are genuine, where there's reciprocity and you care about each other's well being and you want to hear each other out and be there for each other. And don't penalize each other for wanting to support the other one, to challenge them to say, is this relationship healthy for you? You don't sound like yourself. And if you've been, out off the dating market for quite some time, like stop dating, right? You may get a little defensive, like, come on, like I really like this person. But hear your friend out. Okay, hear your friend out. Well, why are you saying that? Tell me what are the reasons that you're saying you don't think I'm being myself? Or tell me why you think it's unhealthy, and let them tell you versus getting defensive and leaving. Just let them share with you and see where that goes. And then say, okay, I'm going to think about what you said. And then maybe you do, not even, actually, you should, right? Because listen, you're going to do what you want no matter what I say, no matter how many times you watch this video. If you haven't already liked it, please like this video so more people can find it that are looking for this content. So I want you to listen to what your friend said and reflect on it. No one's telling you to obey your friends. I'm telling you to reflect on what you've heard, the information that you just heard, because one of the biggest things that you can have while you're dating that's so smart to have, and I think it's with everything in life, self-awareness. Look within and check in with yourself. Am I not being myself? Right? Am I being an unhealthy version of myself? Or am I being a healthy version of myself and people are not used to seeing this side of me? But before you go to the latter where you start thinking that you're being great when you know you're not, let's not lie to yourself, right? Don't lie to yourself. Are you being a healthy version of yourself, or are you being someone that's playing small or holding yourself small and not being fully who you are, because you get to be fully expressed in your relationships? But the most important piece about the social component is you should be with a person that wants you to spend time with your friends in healthy friendships that you know are good for you, people that have always had your back, your family that has had your back. If you do have family that does, sometimes we don't, and I understand that. But you should not be isolating from your community, from your social circle to be with this person, because no one person is your be all end all. The only person you always need to be with is yourself. But if the things that balance you out, right? You can't just be in isolation. You're going to be with you always, but you're also going to have healthy friendships, healthy relationships. And you want to make sure those are intact and aligned as you are in a relationship, because a relationship, a romantic one, should not be taking you away from the people that love and adore you and support you. Because people who love and adore and support you, that have your back, are going to support you being in a healthy relationship, right? So I want you to consider that, because a lot of the time when a partner is not healthy for you, the partner is toxic, they will try to isolate you. They will successfully isolate you and get you to isolate yourself. That's the trick of someone very toxic. They can get you to isolate yourself from those healthy friendships that you have, those healthy relationships you may have with family, because they want to be the only one that's influencing you. But the key is to be your own number one influencer and to be able to decipher when people are unhealthy for you. Okay. So, number 4 is financial, right? Financially, what's going on? So, if you work and you're independent and you have your own money, I recommend that you stay that way. Okay. There's nothing wrong with people helping you. Like if you have a partner that wants to help you out once in a while, that's up to you. But I really think it's important, and I know that it's important for you to be financially independent. So if you are working and supporting yourself, continue to do that. Continue to keep your career, continue to pursue your education, continue to pursue that business, continue to pursue your creative projects, whatever that looks like for you. Continue to be an individual who is self-sufficient, because anyone that is telling you that they don't want you to work, they want to be able to, just, oh, don't worry, you don't have to work. I'll take care of everything. Now, I don't have anything against anyone that wants to be a provider. I think that's a beautiful thing when people want to step up and provide. But if you know that being financially independent is something that allows you to have your autonomy, your freedom, and to take care of yourself, is important to you, by all means, do not stop doing those things, because you get to be who you are fully expressed, right? And you get to be able to decide when you want to stay in a relationship and when you want to go. And being financially dependent, a lot of the times, is what keeps a lot of people in toxic relationships. So, being financially independent is a surefire way to know that you are going to be able to take care of yourself, whether you stay in a relationship and whether you leave, especially if you want to leave a relationship that's unhealthy. Being financially independent is the key to start making your own decisions for your life and for your livelihood. Now, if you're not in a place where you're making money now, really work. There's so many jobs you can get. Talk to your friends, talk to a network. And I know if you haven't heard from your friends or family and you basically disconnected from them, look, if they ever really loved you and cared about you, they're going to be happy to hear from you. Please don't feel embarrassed when you're reaching out. I understand that if you've had distance for quite some time, it's going to be challenging to reconnect. It's going to feel challenging. But that email, that text, send it. Reach out. Let them know you're alive. Let them know you want to reconnect. Let them know that you're looking for work. Whatever that looks like, do it. Or if you have a creative project that you haven't put out there, but you've always wanted to, put it out there. Let your network and your community know that you're selling something, that you know what's going on with you. Obviously, your trusted people, you'll tell them the private personal information, but definitely let people know what's going on for you to put yourself out there to start making money again. And the last one I want to touch on is sexually. Actually, before I go there, let me go back to financial because it just hit me just now. The piece I want to cover in financial is if you are the one making the money and if there's a partner that's actually taking advantage of that. So I had many clients last year that were, for lack of a better phrase, Tinder swindled, right? So if you've heard about this guy that was pretending to have all these, he was pretending to be wealthy and had all these enemies, and he was asking multiple women that he was dating to send him money, and he was scamming all of them. So I want you to know that you deserve to have control over your own money and not have someone try to take advantage of manipulating you into giving you their money. So you want to look at if you're with someone that's choosing to not make their own money and manipulate you out of yours, or is pretending to have and they're just constantly asking for yours until they drain you, right? You should not be giving access to your money to someone who is taking advantage of you. And I know that sounds easier to say than realize, wait a second, I've been going through this right now. What do I do? Like I said before, speak with a trusted friend, cut off access to those financials, make those changes, right? You may be at a different point where you need to get a lawyer involved depending on how deep you're in with this situation, but definitely reach out to a friend that can connect you with the lawyer and do what you need to do to really get that handled. At the end of the day, you don't deserve this. And like I said, these are just a few signs, right? I'm going deep into some of them because I can't help but go deep. I don't want to do surface level stuff to share here. I really want you to get what you need and get the information that can support you. And I really want you to think about that, right? And to protect yourself, because someone that loves you isn't going to take advantage or try to take control of your finances, whether you are the one working and making the money or they're trying to stop you from having a financial income, just an income. So, yeah, that's that one. I want to go to the sexual piece one. So, I talk a lot about being safe and feeling safe in your relationship. So, sexuality is something that's extremely intimate, right? And if you're choosing to engage in sexual intercourse with someone, it's really important that you feel safe, and it's really important that you don't engage in behaviors that you don't feel comfortable in. And if someone is trying to pressure you into doing this, that's not right. That's wrong on all the levels. And if you know that you engage in a behavior that's not for you and you feel pressured into doing this consistently, and you can say maybe that, I don't check all the other boxes, but, in this department, I don't feel good. I don't feel safe. I feel bullied. I feel pressured. This is still an unhealthy relationship. This is still a toxic relationship, because sexuality and having sex are extremely intimate and they're sacred experiences, right? So you shouldn't have to be pressured into something that you don't want to do, right? So really speak with someone about that. And, you know, I know in the moment that it's happening, you may not feel empowered and strong enough to speak up. I completely understand that. Okay. And just because maybe you went along with something doesn't mean it's right. And especially if you know it's not something that you want to do, but you don't feel strong enough to say no, I do recommend again you speak with a friend and really, go somewhere where you can feel safe if you don't want to be there anymore and let this person know, look, I don't feel like we're right for each other. I don't feel like, we're good together, or I don't feel like I want to be in this relationship anymore. So, like I said, you either could be in a dating scenario or be in a relationship. But if you don't feel really safe alone to do this, definitely speak with a friend. Go somewhere where you know you can be safe afterwards, and really do the things that can protect you from being harmed further. Um, because you don't deserve to be in a sexually abusive relationship. You don't deserve to be in any kind of abusive relationship or toxic relationship that is only even at the emotional and mental level. But the reality is, mentally, emotionally, physically, socially, financially, and sexually, all that matters. All that is part of you, right? All that is a part of your human experience, right? And even going into lifestyle, right? If you're not living the same lifestyle, right? This is number 8, I'm just throwing in there, and you know it's going against what is good for your well being, and you're constantly doing this, you're putting yourself in these scenarios that are not healthy for you, right? Because all this leads to, you being in an unhealthy relationship and to the point where it gets completely toxic, right? We can eat something that's not healthy, right? But everything about us doesn't need to be toxic the moment we do that, right? But if you continue to do something, you're building up toxicity in your body, right? So if it's one thing and you're like, well, I can handle this one thing, but if you keep doing it, it's going to spiral into the other areas of your life, right? And it's going to spiral into taking over your well being, right? And it's going to be the norm in your life, and you don't want to create toxicity as the norm in your relationships. Okay. So I really want you to think about all the things I mentioned, checking in with how you're affected mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, socially, and sexually, and your lifestyle in the relationships you're in the dating scenarios that you engage in, because you deserve to be treated well. And I want you to love on yourself by making healthier decisions for your emotional, physical, sexual, all of your well-being, right? Your overall well-being. So I hope these tips helped you. If you like this video and got value from it, please like it and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel grow and it helps the content get out to the people that are looking for this content. So I really want you to tap into who you are and own your value. And I have an upcoming workshop that I want to let you know about again. Thursday, March 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can go to the link that's in the description box of this video, and I hope to see you there. And if you're looking to work with me privately, you can schedule a love discovery call. That's also in the link in the description box. So until next time, trust that you are enough, trust that you are valuable, love by example. Bye.